afternoon, everyone. I'll start this session with a quote like there is a saying, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And today's geopolitical situation across the globe is quite relevant to this quote, and so as our topic today. I decode today's topic into two major components. First one is the current global turmoil, what we are going through, which is a challenge part of it. And then, of course, how do we keep the ball rolling? How do we move forward this situation? So with that note, let me welcome our distinguished speaker today, Mr. Roopesh, Senior VP, Sify Technologies, and Mr. N.K. Jain, founder of Jain Consultants. N.K. Jain Consultants, sorry. I welcome you, both of you, sir, and I am very privileged to moderate this session beside you. So I'll first come to you, Mr. Roopesh. So basically, in today's world, if you see, like, supply chain has gone across in last few years. The risk factor, what was like earlier, it was occasional, but in recent past, we have seen like it is increasing, and it's a very, very critical factor towards any project delivery success. So, you being a senior leadership position, and how do you look into this, like to plan these risks and mitigate those risks, and see the project delivery is done as per plan?
Yeah, thank you. The growing demand in data centers, right, especially the speed at which we need to deliver, definitely this deliveries of materials or the logistics part, these are actually a concern, right? The good part is that in the past, when we have gone through the COVID situation, right, where there was an absolute chaos on the material deliveries, right? We are not getting anything on time, so it was a complete shutdown. And then we saw that suddenly India has kind of came up with a lot of solutions. The Make in India kind of got very active, and then we started making many things in India itself, right? And then we kind of passed that critical stage. But now, again, we are going through a similar situation, right? And unfortunately, we are doing the same exercise again. So the learnings or the experience what we have gone through was not enough to kind of build a permanent solution to these kind of logistics issue or supply chain issues. So it was becoming more kind of a reactive. So we still don't have a kind of a permanent solution. I would say that still supply chain is one of the weakest link in the whole life cycle of a data center project deliveries. I think that is continuing unless all the OEMs and suppliers and including the government comes up with some solutions. I think we will always be kind of a reactive and then live like this. That's what I feel. I don't know whether Jain sir has a different opinion on this.
Yes, I agree to what Roopesh is saying, but let me explain from my point of view, because while many of you may be knowing, but for the general audience, I am a designer of data centers, and Roopesh is the project in charge of a data center. So first we design the complete data center, and then he has to execute the complete project and deliver in time. So obviously the main problems are faced by the execution people if any supply chain issue come up. And as he was saying, during COVID, they faced a lot of problems, and many problems were sorted out to the deepmost level, but the similar problems are coming up again. And what has happened is between COVID and now, the timelines have shrunk. Before COVID, the timelines required to deliver a project for him was maybe 24 months, maybe 30 months. Today it has become 18 months and 20 months. The same project, or rather double the size of the project, has to be delivered in much lesser time because the requirements have suddenly mushroomed, and on top of that, even the hyperscaler requirement of the cloud business requirements have mushroomed, and on top of that, the AI requirements have come. So everything is required yesterday, nothing today, nothing tomorrow. And in such a situation, when these disruptions come, it becomes a real problem. For me, as a designer, one would say, how does it matter to you? Because you are only designing on paper. Whether it comes in time or not, it shouldn't affect me. But it does. It reflects onto our design, that during even design, we need to design the systems, the components in such a way that it faces least of those problems while being executed. See, if you design a system where a lot of imported components are there, the likelihood of disruptions are much more. But if you design systems where you take care that the maximum number of indigenous local components, local designed systems, locally available systems are put into the overall design, the likely impact on the disruptions are going to be much lesser. So on our part, we take care to ensure that we do not, depend too much on foreign imports, foreign supplies. In fact, before this AI and before this liquid cooling revolution came, or is rather rising now, there was hardly very few items in data centers in India, hyperscale data centers, which were being imported. I think the UPSs were all made here, all switchgear, panels, everything was made here. Chillers were made here, cooling equipments were made here, excepting that large site generators were imported because large size generators are not manufactured in India, so they were imported. But after this avalanche of this liquid cooling, again we have gone to a system where lot many things are being imported. You heard the earlier speaker who was talking about the glycol and its requirement and its monitoring. All of these things were not there in data centers earlier. And now we have CDUs, we have so many other cooling equipments which are likely to be imported in the near future while the indigenous capacity is being built in India. So yes, these are some of the things that we need to take care, but let us see that in future these things do not affect the turmoil that happens, the international disruptions that happens should not affect the ongoing projects in India.
Yeah, absolutely. Like as you rightly pointed out, COVID is something is a great teacher for all of us, and definitely the impact analysis and bridge is reduced, but yes, it's not neutralized. And as rightly said by sir, like construction and design has to go hand in hand to uh, for a successful project delivery. It's very very crucial. Thanks for both of you for the insight. So I'll go to the next question, sir, to you. Basically, if you see, majorly in data center, the infrastructure plays a huge part of it. Like, let it be cooling, or it may be a power infrastructure, or servers. So, and as with technologies being upgraded, many imports are again coming into the picture. So, what are the supply chain challenges you can foresee, due to this kind of infrastructure setup?
I think Roopesh should answer that first.
Yeah, I'm actually facing that every day, right? Yeah, so definitely, and as I mentioned in the beginning also, we have these challenges still. So what Jain sir also mentioned, like we have a lot of things now in India, right? So many of the equipments manufacturing has actually shifted to India now. So many of the things what we used to import earlier, most of them are becoming and make in India now. But still, we have challenges around that. So I would say, for example, a chiller person is telling me that they have everything, but the compressor is imported. So what do I do without compressor, right? And then similarly, I get they said, okay, CDU, everything is there with me, but I don't have the pumps. So what will I do without that? So we still have a great dependency on outside India for certain critical components, and then without that, we are not able to kind of fulfill those things. So I'm sure that in the coming days, those things are also will get addressed, and then we'll have a kind of a 100% make in India products available from all aspects. So that is one part of it. And other thing is like planning. That is something which is very very essential. So from design time onwards, so when we do the project, so me and Jain sir, we discuss all these aspects, right? So then we consider the availability also as a criteria when we are designing it. And then one good thing which we have adopted is that standardization of the designs, right? So we have a standard design across our facility. So that helps a lot in the supply chain management, because one equipment which I buy, I can use it anywhere. I don't have to buy any equipment specific for any particular facility or for particular data center. For example, if I am Gen set, I can use it anywhere. If I buy UPS, I can use it anywhere. So that is something which we have worked out, and then we brought that standardization into the supply chain. That makes the life of the designer and the suppliers and the colocation service providers life much better.
Absolutely. So we hope Make in India, goes in a rapid speed. So this kind of challenges will be reduced. Coming to the next, yeah, please, please.
I'll just add to what Roopesh said. Bulk buying is one of the factors that could immensely affect the future construction speed, as well as a guarantee or an insurance against these kind of disruptions. When a company is going on building data centers, the bulk buying they could resort to. Like for instance, I'll give you the example what Roopesh was saying, that when 5 years ago when we designed a data center and they were executing, for that particular data centers they needed something like 25 chillers. And out of that they needed only 5 to start with. But they placed order for 100. And then in all the future designs that we did, we incorporated that same particular equipment in those designs. And therefore, you have a stability of supply, you have a guarantee of supplier who is going to give. Maybe you can divide these orders into multiple suppliers, but have bulk orders, have some kind of a rate contract orders, so that you distribute your risk to many people, and at the same time you go on designing in future based on those components. So these are some of the things which could greatly reduce these kind of issues in future.
Absolutely. Standardization something helps largely to handle this kind of situation. So my next question to again Mr. Roopesh to you is like, uh, we have seen recent past the demand of AI has been increased considerably, and most of the operators are going through a stringent timeline to follow. So this kind of scenario, how the supply chain support, you think it is required, and to balance the speed at the same time without impacting on the quality much.
I don't know whether I have the answer for this. Why I will tell you. The AI, what we are working on, all these projects, okay? I'm sure Jain sir will support me in that. There is no uniformity, okay? The one CDU doesn't fit into the other project. So it's all kind of different. Though the backplane still remains same thing. When I say backplane, your electrical distribution to an extent, that also not unique. To an extent, it remains same. Your chillers, maybe, to some extent, it can be the same thing. But then if you look at now the AI requirements, what we are working on, one person may be coming and asking for a certain temperature, and the other person is coming for a different temperature. It's becoming more of a hybrid. So the planning and execution is slightly different, but then there is some forward call which we have to take it on certain equipments and capacities. So that is kind of helping us. But then this is a problem as of now until we see kind of a standardization in all these AI specific requirements. I think this situation will continue for some more time. That's what I'm feeling. Jain sir, what do you say?
I 100% agree with him that in spite of all our efforts to do bulk buying and keep the UPS and chillers and AHUs and all of that we bulk bought, but every new customer who comes, he comes with his own requirement. And in fact, with this AI, the things have changed so much. We were just about settling in our old design of hyperscale data centers, and we were sort of trying to settle, and this AI came, and this AI has disrupted everything especially in our design systems, in executions, in supply chain system. Today, earlier when we used to work on the cooling, we used to work somewhere around 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 25 degrees, air temperatures, water temperatures. Today, it is 30 to 45. I mean, the 30 degrees is supposed to be cold. 35 degrees is supposed to be cold. When was 35 cold? Now 35 is cold and 45 and 50 is the hot temperatures. So the things are changing so fast. I mean, the way the GPUs are changing, so is the infrastructure has to change. The GPUs are every week a new GPU comes in. Today you talk about H100 and suddenly H200 came, then this GB300 came. Everything, and people keep on talking every event like this, we talk about the future. And in the next year, when the same event happens, so many new GPUs have come. And infrastructure has to keep pace with that. Designs have to keep pace with that. And we have to find ways to tackle these.
Absolutely. Like at times to go with the BTS model, we need to, fulfill the requirement of the end customer, which creates challenges at times. So, sir, I'll come to you, Mr. NK. See, because eventually, yes, we hope made in India will cope up, but definitely we can't see like very, very near future it will, very fast it will happen, right? So, this regional and geopolitical conflict will always be there. So, like in such scenarios, like do you think we are getting into a new era where more stringent or more planned approach is required, similar something like technology model how we plan it. So similar kind of planning is required in this infra materials or infra LL equipments also.
Yes, surely. Fortunately, this recent disturbances, geopolitical, has not had much effect on our data center field because mostly from that Strait of Hormuz, nothing is coming as far as data centers are concerned. But yes, the hydrocarbon and all the energy is coming from there, which affects everybody. The petrol prices and everything, all of these things do affect. But yes, as you said, the designs, the executions, the evolution of technology has to overcome these kind of disturbances. I mean, they have to be designed. Everybody has to keep in mind whether it is a designer, whether it is execution, operations, the customers. Everybody need to keep in mind that these kind of disturbances could come anytime, and therefore we must plan in such a way that these disturbances have least effect on the ongoing projects and on the future projects. So the best solution to that is maximum indigenization. The maximum amount of so-called make in India or made in India here. So if most of the products we start making here, then our effect could be minimized. Yes, still we could have a local disturbance which could have effect on this, but then the spread would be there in the entire country, and to certain extent all of these issues would be able to tackle. But yes, things cannot be predicted, so disturbances would come, and one has to be prepared one way or the other to handle those disturbances. But still, I would like to hear Roopesh.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, and one more thing is maybe we can do is also kind of bring in more of modularized components, right? So whether it is a power skid or a cooling skid, that could kind of reduce an overall supply chain time to a great extent is what I think. But then India has a unique challenge of like the multi-storied vertical buildings. To bringing in this the modular skids, we need to maybe do a specific design for our Indian environment, and that could kind of help the overall timeline to, the delivery timeline. That's what I feel. Yeah.
I think we have time constraints, so I'll put the last question, and probably you can answer in a single line. That will help. So, like this kind of disruption, what is happening, and probably you see it is continuing for maybe another couple of months. So, what is the biggest concern it will come in your mind?
See, the just in may not work in this case now, because everything is an urgency, right? So many times the customer demand is so unreasonable. I would say that it's extremely difficult to kind of meet the quality also, because always I need it yesterday may not work on this. So that just in concept will have a lot of implication on the long time sustainability and the quality and operations also. So that is one thing which maybe the industry has to take a conscious call on, that, a very collaborative decision on this, that everything needs that reasonable amount of time from manufacturing to installations. I think that is one take I have.
Thank you, sir. Your thought.
Yes, I would also agree to him that everybody must have a conscious call on these kind of things. The ask also should be reasonable, and the delivery also has to be reasonable, and both sides have to see that whether our ask is correct, whether in this kind of situation, whether asking for an 18 months of delivery or 12 months of delivery, is that right? So those aspects also everybody needs to see, and otherwise modularization and standardization of the things could solve this problem to a great extent. That is, I would say, the last word.
Thank you. I think we could have continued this discussion for some time, but time is the constraint here. Thank you, gentlemen. Enjoyed talking with you. I'm privileged. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.